Hello my beautiful machines, ear of digital cookies. Justin Superstar here with a very special episode of Q&Justin, the show where Eric or I answer your filmmaking questions. Over at our Indie Machines Facebook page, I was like, yo, you guys got any questions for me to answer about film and editing stuff? And our awesome machines over there added a bunch of cool stuff, which I'm gonna answer for you right now. You got questions? Like us and keep your eyes peeled for our posts. Let's do this! Isaac of the Bacon Man 22 YouTube channel asks, on average, how long does it take to edit a video? The answer to this is, there's really no average, especially when you're working on a documentary where you're dealing with tons of footage. For Father-Son Run, we started off with 30 hours of raw footage. We brought that to an assistant editor who cut it down to 6 hours, cut 3 hours down to 90 minutes, cut 90 minutes down to about 25 minutes. With documentaries, it's not like you're working off a script. You actually create the story in editing. If I was gonna give you an average, I'd probably say 9 hours, 45 minutes, and 68 seconds. Is exactly how long, is the exact average of every video I've ever edited in my life. Mikkel of Mikkel Jugendgregorsson's channel asks, what image stabilizing software do you use, if any? Now, the SmoothCam filter in Final Cut 7 actually works really well, and I've had a good time using that filter in a couple of the recent life vlogs that I've done. Final Cut X also has image stabilization built right into it, which is totally cool. It does a good job. The filters seem almost exactly the same. Make sure that you go into your shot planning on using it. If your footage is super shaky, the stabilizer is gonna have to zoom way in, your image is gonna be super cropped, and it's just gonna look messed up. It's best to use with footage that's already pretty stable and just needs that extra little bit to make it look like you had a Steadicam or something fancy like that. Recently, fellow indie machine Ethan of RedHandedRejects made a really cool short film where he used image stabilization to actually tell you more about the character. I thought it was super cool. Check out the link in the description below. What do you machines use when you need your life to be stabilized? I prefer Final Cut Prozac. Find a Variable Penguin asks, what's a good low-cost software option for editing? Well, honestly, I'll tell you, it doesn't really matter. You could edit a great movie in iMovie. You could edit a great movie in Windows Movie Maker. A cut is a cut, a fade is a fade. The most important thing is have a great story, shoot some great footage, and then it shouldn't matter that much what program you're gonna use. If you're on a Mac, Final Cut Pro X at $300 isn't a bad deal. I played around with it, it seemed pretty good. But in the end, the program doesn't really matter. Chris of ChrisCon Videos asks, if you have Adobe Premiere Pro, is After Effects needed to do visual effects? You can definitely do a lot in your standard editing programs when it comes to stuff like motion tracking, rotoscoping, keyframing. All this kind of stuff is going to be done better in After Effects than you can do in your regular editing program. If you want to be an editor, you have no excuse not to start learning After Effects right away. It's a great program that does great stuff and it's going to make you a better editor. That said, Eric still hasn't learned After Effects and he did a lot of really impressive stuff just in Final Cut by spending a long time using all kinds of different Final Cut filters. I'd always see him working in Final Cut and I'm like, why are you doing that in Final Cut? You can definitely do it, but it's gonna take you a lot more time and I suggest just learning After Effects. Andres of Swisher321 asks, what's the best way to edit audio on your videos without having small clips all over the place? I think it's pretty inevitable, especially in the rough stages of editing. You're gonna have audio clips and video clips all over the place. That said, once you have picture lock, once all your editing is done, you could totally just export either the individual layers of audio or all the audio as a whole into a different program where you can mix it, bring it back, and then just have one big thing of audio. I'm no audio expert. If you guys have an answer for this that I don't know, you should leave it in the comment section below and I'll annotate your answer on the screen because I'm not totally sure. Fact of the matter is that sometimes editing can be messy and you just gotta deal with it. Jason of Epic Spade Studio asks, what's the best program to edit videos? Now, there's no best program. I started at public access using this crazy machine with knobs and stuff like that. Then I moved on to Adobe Premiere, and now I use Final Cut. Austin of Real Film Geek asks about how hard it is to make film into a career. Well, it's not easy. You gotta work hard, you gotta keep getting better, you gotta make sure you avoid wasting all your time with video games, do your own projects, make your own videos. If you live in a small town, move to a big city, meet more people who are doing more creative things, you just gotta keep going. It's like anything. If you wanna be good at it, you just have to never ever give up, and eventually you will succeed. As with anything that's good in life, it's difficult. But the important thing is that if you really like it, if you really want to make film your career, then all that hard work isn't going to feel like hard work, it's going to feel like fun. Ron of Ron Per T asks, what's a good low-budget way to capture external audio if your camera isn't cool enough to have a mic plug-in? Now, I have a Zoom H4n recorder, which I think is great. It's got 2 XLR audio inputs in the bottom, which is great, and you can record stereo sound up top. This retails at around $300, so it's not super cheap. Zoom also makes a recorder called the H1, which comes in at about $100, which has great reviews on B&H and on Amazon, so that's totally worth checking out. But still, I don't know if $100 is cheap to you. Cheap is, can mean a lot of things, but it's definitely cheaper than this one. Now, if you've got an iPhone or any kind of phone that does a decent job at recording audio, we've actually used that in a pinch to record stuff when we needed it, and it's done a pretty good job as long as you're holding it close enough to your actor. In the end, my biggest tip for you is to always shoot close-ups of your actors. If you only shoot from far away, all your audio is going to suck. What's great about doing close-ups is that even if you don't actually use the shot, you can use the audio from the close-up somewhere else in your film, and things won't sound quite as bad as if you're shooting from far away the entire time and it sounds like crap. Sean of the Shay Nation and Z Hunters TV asks about exporting MOV files when you're on a PC using Sony Vegas. Now, I'm not an expert on Sony Vegas. I haven't used it in years. I would recommend dumping your file out to an HDV file, which is a good, high-quality file, and then opening that HDV file in QuickTime 7 Pro and exporting it out to H.264. Should be hopefully good quality and pretty quick. That wraps up this episode of Q&Justin. I hope I answered your questions pretty well. Remember, if you guys have more questions, go over to our Indie Machines Facebook page and feel free to ask them on there. I'm usually pretty good about responding to you in text form, all the answers that you seek. And if I didn't answer a question well enough, you guys should post in the comment section below. And I'll totally add your extra info on the video and annotations, because we're Indie Machines and we're all in this together, guys. Digital cookies for everyone!